Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, I mean from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it. Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
So colleagues, thank you very much. Where is it? Oh, put it. I'm only your mother. Thank you so much. Colleagues, I think you can all see we are dressed in black, right? Yes. And this is because we are mourning as women of Zambia. Yes. Where in Luapula they call it Ichimbo Chamalilo. So I want that to go out to the country, that there are those of us who are mourning because of where we are today in this country. And for me to start my submissions, I want to take you back to history so that I put what I'm saying and what everybody else is going to say. Those of you who read, those who are old and like me, we all remember that in 1972, we had the Chona Constitution Review Commission. The process they used was to go around the country and get submissions from everybody, young, old, and illiterates, because amano mwebantu mambulwa. And munochalo, there's nobody who has monopoly of knowledge. Everybody can contribute to what the discourse is in the country and also contribute to the future of our country, young and old. In 1991, we had the Vunga Constitution Review Commission, followed by the Manakatwe Constitution Review Commission in 1996. Between 2001 to 2007, we had the Muwomba Constitution Review Commission. During the administration of President Sata in 2011, of a framework of how this, with an act of parliament, we started talking about constitutional review. Has any of you heard the act of parliament? No. What we have heard is pronouncement for 2024-25 budget that was presented to parliament. I did not see any provision of a budget that will support this constitutional review. Because anything, even at least this will be the fuel of the people that will be going to discuss. Even to get to parliament, there must be a budget. The other thing is the inclusiveness, the participation of everybody. We are hearing that this is going to be beneficial to the women. Which women have participated? I, for one, I haven't. Not even a phone call to say, Professor Luo, there will be this. I've not heard. Even that phone call costs money. That's what I'm talking about, the budget. So there has to be inclusive participation. And finally, there has to be timelines. When do we start and when do we end? And I gave the history because I wanted you to know that you cannot do a constitutional review in a few months. You can't. It's a process. Somebody was saying, after, what about Bill 10? Bill 10 was a combination of work. When President Sata was still president in 2011, that's when we started talking about that constitution review. And because President Lungu behaved like a leader who builds on what other people have done, he said to the country, I'm not coming with my agenda. I'm going to build on what President Sata started. And people started saying he has no vision. A good leader builds on those that have been there before. A good And a good leader exalts those that have done good work. You say, look, I'm now the leader in this area, but I want to acknowledge what my colleagues did. I'm also giving this account because of the fact that in Zambia, we like to talk about things 1 week, 2 weeks, then we forget. So I want to remind us where we are coming from. I also want to go further, that there was a referendum in this country on the Bill of Rights. Now, in case we all don't know, who were the biggest beneficiaries of the Bill of Rights? It were the women and the children. One of the rights we're looking for is the right to health. Do you know what that does when you have right to health? It means that if we get to a point where we are today, when there are no drugs in the hospitals, we get to a point where which we have been grappling with as women of not having maternity wing near close to the family as possible. Women would demand that right and compel the government to ensure that the benefit. So the biggest beneficiaries of Bill of Rights were the women and children, because who is always frequenting the hospitals? It's the women and the children. Because by nature, when you are a baby, your immune system is not developed. So children are always in and out of hospital with infections. Women by nature, they are the ones who create nations. So we are always in the hospital delivering, also suffering from the implications of pregnancies. And this is why that Bill of Rights was so important for us, our children, and our children's children. Where are we today, and who shot the Bill of Rights? They shot the Bill of Rights, and today I cannot be that important. When that time, it was not good for us to be recognized as women. And women have suffered, and they continue to suffer. Bill 10, which had a lot of progressive clauses, was shut down. We even watched, with technology now, there's nothing that gets hidden. We saw people celebrating the fall of Bill 10. This is history, and it's important for us, countrymen and women of this republic, to remind ourselves where we are coming from. What is also noteworthy is the fact that if you read the current constitution and you look at Article 259, it provides for the inclusion of women, youths, and differently abled to participate in the governance of this country. Article 259. Those who are able, please, you can even Google on your phones, because a lot of us have phones. If you can't get the constitution, just go and Google the Constitution of Zambia and look for Article 259. Then ask the following questions. What has prevented the current administration that wants us to amend the constitution to include women, youths, and the people who are different abled? What has prevented them from including women in their governance? We had risen to 1/3 of cabinet. In the cabinet that I served, we are 1/3 women. Today, we have 4 women. The Minister of Lands, the Minister of Community Development, the Minister of Labor, and the Minister of Lands, Minister of Labor, Minister of Community Labor, and Minister of Justice. When the Minister of Information was dropped, she was replaced by a man. So this is important for us women. And it's important for us to sit and reflect. Let us not be tools that can be used all the time. During our tenure of office, we were privileged to have presidents who created a Ministry of Gender. Where is the Ministry of Gender today? It has been reduced to a department in the Vice President's office. That's what it's been reduced to. Does that show importance of women? It doesn't. It doesn't. So let us not be hoodwinked and the carrot being waved in front of us that we want to amend the constitution for the sake of women. It is not true. And it is important for us as women to reflect and ask these questions. The other question that is important for us to ask, the president, by constitution, has an opportunity to appoint 8 people, nominate them. They don't need, they are not members of parliament, but the president looks at, here are some women from whom I can appoint, or some men or some youths or people living differently abled, because I see potential in them. Now tell me, from those 8 positions, how many women were appointed, nominated? 1 in the name of Doreen Mwamba, Honorable Doreen Mwamba. How many youths? None. How many persons who were differently abled? None. Colleagues, time has come for us as Zambians to ask questions, as Zambians to reflect, as Zambians not allowed to be used, especially women. Did you know who make presidents and ministers in this country or everywhere in the world? It's the women. It's the women. So where have we been? We started celebrating that we are rising. At least we even had the first woman inspector general of police. Where are we today? Going back to men. So for me, I think it's extremely important that even those women that have started supporting these amendments, go and read. Go and read. Era nga twabelenga twayako twayebako n'abantu besu abatubiika pa mipando abalenga ati tube mu mipando tuleekala. And also important, when the constitution will be done, that's why we're talking about timeline. It will have to be translated in all the languages. Where is the time for that to be done? Why are we rushing? We need time. I heard a statement where they are talking about proportional representation, that we are supporting this constitution because we want proportional representation. Colleagues, different countries have different ways in which elections are held. Different countries have a way in which they protect the vulnerable, the women, the youth, and people who are differently abled. Those who are saying that, when did they benchmark? Have they benchmarked that? Is it something that will survive? Is it a system that you can probably borrow from here and borrow from there so that we have a good system here? We have not done any research and we have not done any benchmarking. So it is not possible for anybody amongst us women to start saying, no, we want proportional representation. We will lose out as women. We need to start thinking, colleagues. We as women have been marginalized for too long. If our women who went all over the world to fight for emancipation of women, they'll be so annoyed to hear that we have allowed again to take ourselves backwards. My own sister, Mama Shiresa Kankas, traveled even up to Mexico, fighting for the emancipation of women. I myself traveled up to Senegal, up to Kenya, up to Beijing to talk about the Beijing platform of action. How many of that has been implemented? Zero. And we should even sit, instead of saying, we've had this, can we women gather and reflect and say, what is it that we want to get out of this statement? We're talking about delimitation. What I know about delimitation is dependent on the population of the particular area. We all know that there's controversy around the census data. Yes. And there were a lot of discussions about the census data. There was even a call for an independent audit on the data. How are we going to delimit? How? What system are we using for delimitation? And people are saying, yeah, no, we must delimit so that CDF colleagues. Is CDF a development tool? This country, let me remind all of you, is one of the richest countries in the world. This is the only country in the world that is got 8 countries on its borders. If we did the right thing, we can take the economy of this country into the 8 countries around us, or we can draw their economy into this country. Everywhere you step in Zambia, there are minerals. How many Zambians are participating? And for that matter, how many women are participating? How many youths are participating? And we, as women, should start saying, no, we support. So, I want to conclude to allow my colleagues to speak by asking the following questions, which for me I seek answers to. Why the hurry in the constitutional review? Why are we in a hurry? Why are we reviewing the constitution a few months to 2026 elections? Why don't we wait until after elections? Yeah, so that we can do a good job, at the end of which you can even translate so that even our grandmothers out there will be able to know, because the constitution elupapulo lwakyalo eipange kyalo nama decisions yonse yafuna mu lupapulo constitution. So it's not a joke, and it's a complex matter. Like I said, delimitation is a complex matter. It cannot be hurried. Do you know that even up to now, there is controversy around the boundaries of the chiefdoms? They talk about 1958. Why? Because people are not satisfied. Are we going to be satisfied for delimitation within a few? If the chiefs have not agreed since 1958 on their boundaries, how are we going to agree on this delimitation? Do you know that there are, even in the districts that have been created, there are controversies around boundaries? I can even tell you an example. I live in, my house where I lived is in Sunningdale. When people speak, they say, for the first time, me, I live in Munari. You've been having MPs who don't hail from Monali. Mubipiri lived in Sunningdale. I lived in Sunningdale. Sunningdale is part of Kalingalinga ward, and it's part of Bunali constituency. So even up to now, people don't know. How we'll know this delimitation which is being called for just now? Colleagues, let's open our eyes. The second question is that where is the Ministry of Gender for us to be satisfied that the president loves us? So he has kept our ministry, and we have a ministry in which to speak, because there were a lot of pending issues. At the time I was Minister of Gender, and we got the bill for gender equity and equality, we still had to make a commission. And those were things we left on the table to be carried on. So once that ministry was removed, the Gender Commission has never been established. So that is an important question for us to ask. Why the sudden interest in us women? Why? Tell me which party that is wanting to amend this constitution, what is in the constitution of their party to ensure that women are given the same platform. And I know that for a fact, because when I was Minister of Gender, I called all the political parties and pushed for the amendment of their constitution so that women would be placed at the center of analysis. So how have we now become beautiful that we should be the ones now being used to amend the constitution? This beauty myself, I don't like. And since there's a provision on Article 259, what stopped them from appointing? Because that's what we should have seen. A cabinet, 50%, and we've seen it in other countries. Just go to Rwanda. 50% women. Namibia today, how many, even the president and vice president are women. That's where you see the love for women, the youths, and people differently abled. So for me, I want some answers to this question. And finally, where is the budget that's going to support? Well, now there is a saying, in an Alanda coffee, Napita.
Thank you very much for that, Professor. You see how important it is to have a link with all the young, the new. We get a chance to be told about
To stand up. Is it like this? I feel like it's on my leg.
So the next speaker now is a representative of the youth and a female youth. Her name is Namakao. She is the next.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, ladies. Mujibiet Mike Alaimwan. Mutozi Chwani. Mwali Bihabuti. Mwaika Mkwai. Mwachoma. How we're one Zambia, one nation, isn't it? I said we are speaking, or I am here speaking on behalf of my fellow younger women. And as younger women, we are very clear. I know someone will say, which women? It's me and the millions of women like me who are standing here and saying we do not want a constitutional amendment done by the UPND government. We are categorical. We are not shy because I mostly represent what we call the millennials and the Gen Z. We are the generation, unlike I would say probably the boomers and the Gen X, who had a fear to speak to those who are above them. And that's why sometimes you're getting supper. No, too many women are being raped and children being defiled. It's not like it's a new thing. It's just that the newer generations have the power to speak up. They have the power to report. So I belong to that generation, and we believe in an honest conversation. We were taught you should tell the truth and nothing but the truth. And so for my generation, unlike what Menda was saying, the European leader was saying, young people, it is wrong to tell the elderly that they have lied. Well, at the table of governance, there is no young or old. There's just a table of governance. Zambia as a Christian nation is very clear. We have what we call in our constitution the national values, principles, and economic policies. We believe that morality and ethics must be in place, patriotism and national unity must be in place, democracy and constitutionalism, human dignity, equity, social justice, equality, and non-discrimination must be in place, good governance and integrity, and sustainable development. I'm intrigued by the word integrity. I am a younger generation that is saying we cannot keep quiet when our elders are lacking integrity. Before I speak further on integrity, as we say no to the constitutional amendments, because our thought is that even you in the UPND, I have a message from you for you. The Bible says in Esther chapter 4, verse 13, it says that he sat back, and they're talking about Mordecai. He sat back because Mordecai had called for Esther and told her to help in the battle because the Jews were about to be slaughtered. But Esther was in the palace, and so she was not really ready to fight the battle on behalf of the Jews. So Mordecai is responding back, and this is the message to those in the UPND. He sat back, he sent back this answer. Do not think because you are in the king's house, you alone of all Jews will escape. If you remain silent at this time, relief for the Jews, if you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place. But you and your father's family will perish. And who knows that you have come to your royal position for such a time as this? This part is for all of us. We have found ourselves in this house because we were birthed to be part of a time such as this. And even you in the UPNG, you must wake up. You have seen what I'm about to tell you about the integrity point. The president was in parliament not so long ago talking about the national values. Okay, wasn't he? Now, this president who was in parliament speaking about national values and saying that we have progressed, but have we progressed? No. Madam Imenda, I'm sorry, give me a woman. Animishendi, the black nitifa. The fact is, we are part of the generation that says we shall speak the truth because truth will bring development and transformation. Integrity is a word that is used to describe a person who abstains from cheating, lying, and stealing. And it has 5 fundamental points. Of course, there could be more. Now, the UPND came on a platform of saying, we are coming to help Zambians have a better livelihood than that which they were experiencing during PF. Have they done that? No. Are we better off today? No. So they lied to us that we'll be better and we are not better. Can such people amend our constitution surely? No. If he cannot uphold his own promises, because integrity needs honesty, trust, fairness, respect, responsibility, and I'll put consistency and accountability. The UPND government lacks in these areas, and they cannot be allowed to touch our constitution. You may argue that you as UPND, because you say you have agreed, and we surely will ask you agreed with who? Because there are 19 million plus Zambians. So how many sat at that table that you call agreed? And as the professor rightfully said, this is not something we should be birthed on the Zambian public by the president. No. Where was the process starting? who started or initiated the process. We do not expect the president to announce it because when he speaks, it means it's already in motion. So for it to reach the president, it means so many stages have been skipped. And as I've said, I am sorry, Boy Menda, but we as the younger generation, we don't know how not to tell you the truth. I was telling somebody that to describe you is not an insult, but it's just to state the fact. It is your responsibility as a mature adult to ensure people describe you appropriately. But if you lie, if you cheat, if you are not consistent, we'll call you a liar. We as the younger generation are saying the UPND government, the leadership, starting from the president, we have weighed you on the scales of integrity and have found you wanting. And we have the evidence. And hence, we do not want you to touch our constitution. You said you were a farmer and you'd managed to reduce the bag of meal. But interestingly, you increased the bag of meal by more than 200%. You said you have connections, and so the dollar will be able to drop by 14 hours. We are 3 years, 4 years almost, and you have failed to reduce the exchange rate. You claimed that you have the PF was stealing 4 quarter of petrol on 1 liter. And yet we have evidence today. You see, we have evidence today that we now have evidence that you claimed, UPND, you claimed PF was stealing 4 quarter per kg. I mean, was stealing 4 quarter per liter of petrol. And you said you come and reduce. Today there is the scandal which is burning right now. And you are stealing 15 quarter per liter. Now tell me, are you an honest people or are you liars? We now even have 1 kg breakfast meal. How many people can eat from this and be satisfied in a home? I don't even know if how many people can afford this. In the compound, the price will be probably above 20. Now, how many people afford that? Because there is no employment, there are no opportunities. You have indeed lied to us. And we are told that a man of integrity, a leader of integrity would have fairness. We have been viewing how you've been treating our leaders, especially for us who are coming from the patriotic front and the opposition. We have seen how you have treated our leaders. You treat them like criminals, destroying their livelihoods, meaning you don't care about the millions of Zambians that are actually fueling from these individuals. You have not been fair to them. And so can you be fair as you amend our constitution? We do not trust you. Because I don't want to repeat the fact that you did not manage to appoint enough youth and women when you had the chance of 8 people, Mr. President. You will not come and lie to the millennials and the Gen Z. We belong to a different cloth. With us, you must come with integrity. If you lack it, we'll tell you. So maybe others are failing to reveal to you. The biggest reason we do not want you to amend our constitution, Mr. President HH, you are not trustworthy. You have proved to be untrustworthy. You have proved to be unreliable. You are a president that on his own volition declared that we will start in Mingalato. And we have seen the Mingalato. A whole president, a father of the land, saying, I'll begin to squeeze your throat. And you want us to trust such a man to amend the constitution that equally has his enemies in it? Mr. President, it's not our fault. Do not say we are disrespectful. We are just a generation that says it's enough that after 60 years we are looking like we are an impoverished nation, being called the 6th poorest country. When we have gold, minerals, copper, uranium, even diamonds. Yes, we know we have diamonds. We do know. So you, Mr. President, God gave an opportunity to transform Zambia. The Zambians gave you the will and voted for you. Even though we questioned the 2.8, but we say you did win the hearts of the Zambians. But you have disappointed all of us. Even us who did not think you could work this low, you have shocked us because you've gone below where we thought you could reach. Mr. President, boss, because we are serious about transforming this nation. Your load shedding has led to people dying. And what hurts us and why we're saying you cannot handle the constitution, 8 hours, 10 hours, and he found a solution for us. You said, how can he allow load shedding for 10 hours? He is destroying the economy. This man has no vision. This man has no leadership. And the Zambians said, "Aba kwato buntungulu shaba, bampela na voti." No, by my not even load shedding. Power shut down. No, by winning. Twala shan. No, by my twala shani. Because our then 8 hours, takwali leadership, takwali na vision. Now by my 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, takuli amalaiti. Twalala na nishi yo. Awale kenu kumafia mleo mfefe ba boss. Ifindu tafi weme. Ala na asipene ifindu. And we just want an honest conversation. But boss, if enough to go sela. Abantu baledi abino mayanda. The constitution should have been the last thing on your mind. But we understand because Nemingala too much to introduce. Our belief is that you are plotting to actually disadvantage somebody in what you're about to do with the constitution. And we are depending on God to stop you. Our Bagapokola who are preparing for my arrest. And I shall anything but God. If God says, come and arrest me, I'll be here, my children will remain and suffer. But I've explained that we are fighting for a better Zambia. People have died in this country for us to have freedom. We cannot allow someone who was shown by his own will. Okay, did I ask the president to be lying to us? No. Did I ask him to reduce the price of millennium? No. Did I ask him petrol exchange future fair price? Did I ask him? No. Okay, did I even ask him at my president to get penny at Namchta signing restructuring your debt? We lived, imagine, for 2 years thinking that was a restructured debt. Can't you feel? It never got take time. 2 years, we were all under the impression that the debt has been restructured. Everything has been signed. Only to have an international person, it was the American embassy that leaked the information that it was not signed. You want me to clap? Bagateka, this is a country. Lives at stake. Lives have been lost. You know, atukuteka abantu. Bagateka what now filwa. Mwakangiwa. Bati mupalezwi. Mwakankalwa. I want to tell my people in the UPNG, I know you have this sown enmity. I don't know why you're so bitter. Yes, you have anger because you claim we the patriotic front, we hurt you in one way or the other. But you see, God wiped away your tears and he gave you the presidency and an opportunity to rule the nation. But then you came and started repaying your own, getting back your own. It's like you have vowed to make the patriotic front as miserable, as unsuccessful as possible. You can't even respect the patriotic front constitution because you just want to kill the patriotic front. Can you be trusted to now handle our constitution of the Republic of Zambia? Mr. President, the people in the UPND, we had gullible men like God-given Garing Combo. The man used to dress and look nice. The man used to speak well. Cornelius Weta, my other God-given, he could speak. We also had Jack Mwimbu, he could speak with sense. But we are flabbergasted as a younger generation that these individuals, now that they are ruling, they are looking disillusioned. I want to speak to you, ministers in the UPND government, the MPs and other members. You know you are frustrated. You know you have been disappointed. You know you are suffering. You know you don't have freedom. Now, is that a man you are sure because of a few coins you are going to support to make the constitution into a document that nobody even knows what is really true his intentions are? Are you sure? Be patriotic like the young people who died. I have come to realize, and I'm so sad that it's so late. Professor Nkanduluo, we have a lot of work for you to teach us and my generation and those coming behind me about our history. We do not know our history. We've been celebrating Youth Day and we didn't know why. Do you know, my fellow youth, that we are celebrating on the 12th of March Youth Day because there's a time when we're fighting for independence and the oppressors then, the colonizers, realized that Nkumbula was coming from Congo into Zambia and also Kaunda was on the copper belt in Dollar. So they said that they would kill Kaunda and so blame Nkumbula who was coming in. But one patriotic person, can you be that patriotic person in the UPND? Come and tell us what they're really cooking. One patriotic individual he listened and came and told the youth and said, they're planning to kill KK and blame Nkumbula. There was no WhatsApp, there was no FaceTime, there was no TikTok. They had to walk from Kitwe to Ndola so that they can save the life of KK. Yeah. And even after they did that, when the British came and bombed the place, they found he was not there. They wanted to stop the mammoth rally which was happening. What did the youth do? They created commotion in the other town so that KK can still have his mammoth rally. Yeah. They went in another town and the police went to that town, and during that riot, our brothers and sisters died. Guys, people died. Twale mnokwa twasendilise ubudunga pada paka silver plat. Abantu balifila po. But basho is pattern. And someone was saying you're too young and too intelligent to be doing politics. So who is supposed to be a politician? Yes. A thief, an idiot, a lazy person. What are you trying to say? No, it's too dangerous. The UPND will beat you up. I said, well, they beat me up in Kawambo already. This is where I say the president is a liar. He has been... Remember when he just won, he said, we shall rule by the rule of law. I am here to attest that bagateka mwali tuvepa batili bashemi no mlupumile mwitu vepele kimwambile kishinkane mwebene mwambile amba kubela bwata makesha bakakukwata aletu imikwata. You said cheating is bad, lying is bad because tomorrow they will catch you on. And we have caught you on. The rule of law. Your non-cadres, you can ask Trevor Mwinde, he was there when I was being retrieved from where I was hiding. And he even told the person, don't touch her, let her struggle on her own. Because helping her is alarming the situation. Is that a party that cares about women? No. You see a woman limping, bleeding, hardly walking, and you tell the person helping, you're alarming the situation. And I was beaten right there. Was that not alarming the situation? Now, Mr. President, we open dockets. Trevor Mwinde should know who got my Infinix phone, not 30. I'll make sure. The guys who beat me up, he knows them. He got a report. He was there on the scene when I was being retrieved, so he knows. We opened the docket, not even one day. Has Kawamba called me to say we are this far with your investigation? Worse off, we pointed out, as we left the police station to go to the hospital, we found the criminal UPND thugs that had attacked us. We went and got the police and said, it is these guys here at this filling station. The police went, parked and told them, Chengu police, those cadres drove like this and the police followed, and that was the end. What is that rule of law? But you managed to follow my mother, Mumbipiri, all the way to Lusaka and took her all the way back tukawambwa. Era nistemwa mwendo kwa mlat babula phone. But as we are saying, these are the people who have attacked us, and you didn't catch them. They're freely roaming. You are, yeah. That Mulibabu thing. Now, why Kulanda Mulibabu thing? Bagateka, as I end my remarks, we can say a lot about everything, but the bottom line truth is that you lack integrity, sir, in our eyes. And you have yourself on your own accord allowed this situation. Before you get upset and point fingers at us saying like you had the speaker X or punish Honorable Jean Chisenga because she said Wakateka Ogufi Wachila. I don't know who you are sending to come and capture me, but God is my witness and my defense. I am not insulting you, neither am I using hate speech. But Mr. President, we cannot develop with your lies. And they must be called out because you need to change. You see, we still have 1 year, 3 months of your leadership, and we want you to bring back the respect people had for our country. Mr. President, I shudder to hear you. I saw you telling Abasungu that we have had no rain in Zambia for 2 months. Akateka. Kwaliba Google, Facebook, TikTok, fiance. Abasungu Balisha, how long we didn't really have rains. But you lied with a straight face. You said you can't blame a drought for load shedding. But there you are with the big begging bowl for 3 weeks of lack of rain, crying that Zambia has not had rain for 2 months. Not even a drop of rain for 2 months. You lied. Bagateka, we can't develop with your lies. And so we believe even the people you are pursuing, the eligibility you have put, or the non-eligibility you have declared on ECL, we feel all that as it's just lies. Because as I end the story, I'll tell you why we are saying we can't trust you. You are not honest, you are dishonest. Because your generation, Mr. President, and the generation after you, they taught us something. They used to give us those stories, about the boy who cried wolf. They'll tell us about the boy who was stationed to declare to the people, hey, there's a lion coming. And the people in the village must camp and go and find shelter. They told us that story. And they'll tell us this boy would be put there, then he would get bored and you think, the gankabatinye here. Then you go and say, Ingalamo, people run, the scamper, he falls laughing at our national secretary. And after some time again, it happens that you'll be doing the right thing, then you get bored, then again you go, Ingalamo, the scamper, he laughs. The day the lion came. Then he said, Ingalamo, people just said, who you? And the people were eaten up. So you are being eaten up by your own self and your own actions, Mr. President, because you cried wolf to us. You lied about your campaign message. It has been proven to be a lie. You lied about restructuring. It has been proven to the debt restructuring is a lie. And you lied that you're going to allow rule of law. You've lied because there's selective rule of law. You said there will be no unjustified incarceration of people, and you have done that. Mr. President, by your own action yourself and by President, if I can use Binwell's Mpundu's words, mulibakulu sana, teti mufilo kuishwa tumulevepa. Mwana, so mweka mwavepa, ifo tulibakombo, ntwalambia kone saka Communiqu language, mwevene mwaisa vepa, eno nombati ifo tuwalufia yukumia watu mulibabufi, ahawe bagateka. Change. No constitution amendment.
That is a message to the youth of Zambia. The youth are on fire. They are knowledgeable, they know what's going on, they have the facts, and it's time for us to listen to what the youths are saying. Thank you very much for that presentation. Madam Olivia Piri from Socialist.
There's a saying at Jakanga Baka.
Kuku singa mele, Chichera. My name's Olivia Piri, member of Central Committee for Socialist Party, and also National Resource Mobilization Chairperson, a party that respects women. That's what they do. They'll give good positions to women. And also an aspiring candidate for Chadiza constituency. I want to assure the people of Eastern Province that I will not be a traitor like my brothers have done it. So it's an assurance that 2026 paying habari. Let us get representation, not orphans, not those that don't know what you send them to do. And in this case, mine is a big disappointment. As a politician, as an aspiring candidate, we have an umbrella that says they represent us, women in politics. But today, we are surprised they're misrepresenting us. So we have a voice who speak on behalf of all the women in politics. I'm standing here representing all the aspiring female candidates in the country. In all the political parties, including UPND, there are also women who are participating in politics, but they are being stepped on. Bali banyantilila twala balandila. My big appeal, nabana lumango bali banyantilila. Amai bon secho batolo ke la feta ba ishba nefi akwewa abantu. It's not easy. It's not easy to be a woman under the current regime. But don't worry about my otwala milandila ko. The pain you are feeling is the pain every woman in this country is feeling. Imitaofole is not a solution. That's why we say for us to benefit from this government. Benefit. As my so my concern goes to women's lobby. I was listening to NGOCC presser saying that we, the women in politics, have agreed to the amendment of the constitution. In the House, we've got women from our main political parties so far. 9. And those that are not here, they were supposed to be here. I do not remember, as a member of Socialist Party, my national chair lady is here, where women's lobby send an invitation to Socialist Party to say, come we discuss the amendment of the constitution. But today they are on every podium to speak on our behalf as women in politics, to say we want the amendment of the constitution. It is very sad that organizations like Women's Lobby, NGOCC have become a branch of the ruling government instead of speaking on behalf of those they represent. So speaking through the National Women's Lobby, I know you are listening, and I'm warning you You will not continue misrepresenting us. Your thoughts cannot be the thoughts of the women in politics. If you've been bought to speak on our behalf of what we do not agree, we are saying as women in politics, we do not need the constitution amendment before the elections. If they want the delimitation, I think the previous government gave us a roadmap, which they rejected. As an aspiring candidate, I know my constituency is big, but can it be done genuine and straightforward? So where is the report that shows that these are the constituencies to be delimited? So we shall not allow to use delimitation as a corato to sneak in other clauses that we may not actually understand. I was surprised to hear the president saying the constitution amendment will benefit the women. And then I was thinking, I said, how? And what clause in particular? Because in the current constitution, there are clauses that gives power to the president to empower the women, to appoint more women, to give more power to the women. We have a president from 2021, the first thing he did, he removed the power of the women by scrapping off a ministry where their voice could have been done, and replaced it as a department. Where it came from previous governments, removed it as a department, made the ministry so that our voice can be heard. Now today, you have U-turn Bakateka to say your amendments, which you yourself, who is a movement to amend the constitution, not the people. I think like the previous speaker said, previously in the history, there was a movement where the amendment of the constitution became an issue prior to election because they wanted us to move from one party state to multi-partyism. That was necessary. Bakateka, what the women want, the women of Zambia, is you to reduce the high cost living. Before 2026. What the women need is good health. There are no medicines in the hospitals. Will the amendment of the constitution take medicine in the hospital when in the past 4 years you have failed to do that? The women in politics and the women of Zambia, what they need is a good living. Amending the constitution will only benefit you. You are the only one that understands. That's why today it has become part of your vocabulary. In every speech, wherever there is a podium, you want to talk about amendment of the constitution. What about the high cost living that every woman is going through today? Did we see this sugar? 7 grams. This is what the women of Zambia are requesting to throw out. Not the amendment of the constitution. Rakateka, you had powers. Even in your own party, when I look at key positions, especially politically, when you hear a woman speak, it's a serious misrepresentation of women. They are only sent to go and trigger a fight or provoke the nation. So now today you want to tell us you want to change the constitution and the major beneficiary will be the women and the youth. How? So by women's lobby, if you mislead Angel CC that the women in politics are in support of the amendment, it's a serious misrepresentation and we deserve an apology as women in politics. Because we do not agree, it is not necessary, it's not urgent. Yes, like you had said, Mr. President, there are lacunas in the constitution, but we need time. All those resources that you want to put in the amendment of the constitution, channel them to the medicines in the hospitals, channel it to the cheaper fuel at least. The maternal death, which is high, especially where I come from in Chadiza, to drive from Chadiza to Chipata, because we only have a district hospital, there's no general hospital. Women have died on the way. Chadiza people want a good road, not the constitution amendment. We've been told that Chadiza Chipata road will be done, which has been in every podium of traditional ceremonies, the president has said they'll do that road. When you check in the 2025 budget, that road is not there. So we are wondering where would the money come for that road? And today the Chadiza people should come and tell them that for them to benefit, they need an amendment of the constitution. Will that amendment build that road? The answer is no. So vakateka at the end of the day to us, the lobby, na ba NGOCC, go back to the people that gave you the mandate, that gave you the power to exist. You cannot continue misrepresenting us. You cannot continue to go and tell lies to the people. Because as women in politics, we have not sat with any of these two organizations to discuss this issue of amendment. So it is their own thinking. We respect your opinions, but please do not speak on our behalf because we've not mandated you to do that. Also, when people are assuming this leadership, read. So that even when you are called in the night, you speak from the knowledge point of view. Because everything is there. How many female MPs do we have in Zambia today? NGOCC, you have always, I heard you on Women's Day where you're saying you support women in politics, you support female candidates. I stood in 2021. I never got any help from NGOCC. In the House, there are about 6 other people that stood. What we want you to do as NGOCC, what programs are you putting for you to have a good representation of women in parliament? Not to go and support things that you don't understand. Your mandate is to ensure that we have more women representation, not you to go and support what the politicians are telling you what to do. So, one, the same way you've been pretending to help us, and today again I'm repeating to the donors, if there's any allocation for women in politics, channel it direct to the political parties that have women, not NGOs, because they have never supported women in politics. When McDonald's, like Trump has done it on others, we are calling you today. NGOCC has never supported women. But UPND candidates we hear. But even some, they've said even them, they were not. So to us, it's our call as women in politics, as candidates from presidential, parliamentarian, mayoral, and councillors. If there's any package Mwema donors, please channel direct to all the political parties that have female. NGOCC cannot continue feeding in our name and then lie on top of that in our name. We know what is going on in our country. We have a government that does not respect democracy. We have a government that wants to take us back to one-party state. When you speak, the police are on the doorstep. When you tell the truth, they are silencing you. Today it's sad that even the voice that is supposed to stand for the voiceless, like the women's lobby, the NGOs and others, they are also voiceless. They've been swallowed. They have been put as part of branches of the ruling government. We are calling you, NGOCC, to go back on the drawing board. You cannot continue on that trajectory of misleading the masses, misleading people. So, by President Hakainde Hichilema, you became president through the democratic process. Yes. It is our fear as women where we are going. You have preached about having peaceful elections. They've been bloody. I've participated in these elections. So we don't know bakateka busheta mufuaro tabamieva, or is it because you choose what to see? What the women in politics are asking is not the amendment of the constitution. It's the peace during elections. Because as Vanamayo, that's so we don't know what to deal with when it comes to 2026. We have seen it in these by-elections that have been perpetrated by the same government. And why we cannot trust this constitution amendment, Parliament has been tampered with. All these by-elections that were called was to make numbers. We have seen you people there choose members of parliament. You chose members of parliament in 2021 to represent you. Some have been bought. Yes. They will not speak your voice. They'll speak from their bellies. Yes. They'll not speak what the people are telling them to say. They'll speak from their bellies. So we cannot allow a small number of people who are compromised to come and amend our constitution. Let us go into 2026 with the current constitution and amend it later. When we have sober people in office, we have sober people in parliament. Right now, most of those MPs are compromised. And I'm talking in Eastern Province where I come from, it's so shameful. And those are the people we are going to rely to amend our constitution. Will they speak the voice of Eastern Province? The answer is no. They will speak the voice of the master. So, Bakateka, please, you cannot advocate for the amendment of the constitution yourself. You are a movement and you want to do everything. Allow the process. Learn from those that have done it before. You will not lose anything. The constitution of Zambia is a people's document that should govern the people, and it's the people to decide how they should be governed, not you, the UPND, not you, the president. So Twala Lombako Bakateka, as women in politics, on behalf of other women across the country, we are not in support of the amendment of the constitution before elections because we can't trust you. We can't trust you. You have betrayed us in so many ways. You have betrayed Zambia in so many ways. With those you are calling your so-called MPs who are compromised, we can't trust them to tamper with the constitution. The same way you rejected it, the Zambians today are rejecting it because they can't trust. You promised Zambians a better life. Today, the Zambians are not even eating 3 meals a day. And then you are telling us women that when you amend the constitution, which only you know, we have heard rumors you want to remove the 50+1 because you know that you cannot win an election with 50+1. Why? Because of your underperformance. You can fake these rallies. You can fake the people to show that you are popular. Your works will speak. Mr. President, previous government moved us. I'll give an example, one clause that was, I think, a teeth in the nail of Zambians. A running mate clause. We've had in history 2 presidents dying in office. And we had to go back for elections. A wiser government thought it wise and passed a constitution. Amended the constitution by adding the 50+, the running mate clause. So that today, should any president die in power, we will not go to elections. But we are hearing because if you are the way that woman today would have gone. And my boss, we are standing here as a fellow woman. We know what you're going through under this regime. To remove that clause would be suicidal for Zambia. We have heard the issue of the tenure. You know, when we hear rumors in UPND, it starts as a rumor until it gets into reality. We are tired of shockings. That's why we can't trust you to touch our constitution. We are being told you go on the podiums, you're talking about amending the constitution. One of your people are saying that the draft is there, the other ones are saying it's not there. So who do we believe? So to cut the story short, no amendment under this regime. Let's wait until after 2021. Your focus is, let us look at 2026. Let's go to a general election. Whoever wins, we come back because the process and amend. Otherwise, because we know you have placed the Mingalato in parliament to change this constitution will not help us. And Zambians out there know what they want. You will not impose it on people. This God, Zambia was declared a Christian nation, not by accident. We have survived the 4 years under this brutal regime. We have survived under the hardship. He will see us through. And all we are saying, respect the people's will. Tule Lomba as women, that to us, those you have bought that are telling you that we are in agreement, Babu Finab. We did not agree with them. As women in politics, we are actually saying no amendment until 2026 election. After. Thank you.
now we are going to move to the final speaker before I present the communique. And the final speaker is Honorable Reverend Sumaili.
One Zambia! One Zambia! One nation! Thank you so much, Director of Program this afternoon. And allow me to thank the previous speakers who have spoken with such wisdom, with such a commitment to what is happening in our country. The message is very clear, and we are speaking one voice. Even as we unite with the women out there in the rural areas, the women that are at the markets, we are connecting with them. The women in the offices, the women in the church, we are connecting with them. And we are saying there shall be no amendment to this constitution. There shall be no amendment to this constitution before the elections that are due to take place next year in 2026 in August. Let me remind Vakateka, Vatatava President, to say that he is in that position where he is today because of the people of Zambia. They gave him an opportunity to rule over this nation, and he should not abuse that opportunity that he was given. And that opportunity that he was given to rule has an expiry date. He was only given 5 years, and 5 years is expiring next year in August. So therefore, he has to be very careful the way he handles the people of Zambia. The people of Zambia know what is happening, and they need to be respected. And I want to also tell him, remind him, that there is somebody above him who has all the power. All the power belongs to God. And God reigns over the affairs of men. He reigns over the nation of Zambia. And God is also concerned about what is going on in the country. And you see, the will of God is expressed through the will of the people. So when the people say we do not want to change our constitution now, we are asking Vakateka to listen to the people and to respect also the will of the people. Recently, the church mother bodies, who are the mouthpiece of God and who are the body of Christ in our nation, the nations, they came out very clearly. They spoke very clearly. And we are talking about the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, the CCB. We are talking about the Evangelical Fellowship of Zambia. We are talking about the Council of Churches in Zambia. They spoke with one voice. You know, there has to be respect given to our church leaders. They said, no, we do not want to do the amendment now because of its proximity. It's too close to the general elections. They also showed concern concerning the budget, as Professor talked about the budget. Where is the money going to come from? Because now we have seen that there's high cost of living. People are suffering. There are no medicines in the hospitals. We have load shedding. You know, we are even exporting the power so that we can make some money, which is very disadvantaging to the people of Zambia. So there are so many issues. They also talked about the non-participation of the people of Zambia. They said there is no consultation. You have not consulted. So therefore, we cannot have this amendment now. It is so close to the elections. And similar statements have been expressed by other civil society organizations. We had over 14 very distinguished civil society organizations who came together and they said, no, we do not want to see the amendment now. Bakateeka mufiire mwawunfwa ifi abantu balelanda. Last, the Law Association of Zambia also has come very clearly. They have come out very clearly and said, no, we cannot have the amendment now. Ukuteeka abantu kufiire kwabako ukunfiire ifi abantu balelanda. You know, for a long time, bakateeka opo mwaishira, mufwayo kuchitefyo mulefwaya. Your bosses are the people of Zambia. The people of Zambia are the ones who have put you in that position. You are supposed to be a servant to the people. Listen to what the people are saying. And we are saying, no, we do not want the amendments now. If there has to be any amendment, let it come after the general elections. Now, there are so many things that are happening in our nation, which should concern us. Ifwe fwe bana mayo na tupapa sana, ifwe mwatulanga nomba ukututemwa. Pantu kwena mututemwa, ngatu alifimona. You have shown the opposite. Charlie Chanson sana. It is so embarrassing to our nation to see how a former first lady is being taken from one court to another, you know, grabbing things that belong to her. It's very, very embarrassing. Mwali tusebanya. Ifi kufulana mayo. No baba teti muise ati ndefu ayo kweba ati tukale mukale efula. Because even with the powers that you already have, even what is already in the Constitution, Article 259, you should have appointed more women. Tuwali munefu mwachu sheva Honorable Mumbi, period. Can you imagine a woman like that staying in the cells for such a long time, almost a year? Bamuteka muchifungo. Ukwabula omulando, at the end of the day, tapali omulando. Kushe kuchindikana mayoko. Kuchindikana ma. That's why tuleka no pati imwe bota mulelande chinka. And I can say that deceit is immoral. Lying is immoral. Betrayal is immoral. Uchiteni chintu chilondolweke ufweni ifi abantu balelanda. Not if you're ndefu ayaile, if fichitike awe twakana. Hello. Yes. And I want to remind you, the President Bakateka, Zambia is a Christian nation, as it has already been mentioned. Zambia has an identity. We have an identity. And we stand on Christian values and principles. They are national values, they are Christian values, and you have thrown these things out of the window. You know, it is so painful to us as a people, especially when we see our babies, our children being defiled. Can you imagine? It is so painful because now we have lost the values. Mubikile vitu vya kuwalesa kunuma. Instead ya kuti mubike vitu vya kuwalesa kuntanshi. Zambia is a constitutional democracy, and we respect the rule of law. We respect transparency and integrity. We respect participation of the people of Zambia. This constitution is from the people, and they have the authority. They are the ones with the authority to determine when we can amend the constitution, and you have not consulted. And therefore we are saying that President ichalo chose na chandata chile fwaya ukweba ati mwikate kuli constitution tulefwaya ukweba ati fwebene after the elections. Eno tukekale punching abena Zambia. Tukaloleshe fishi tulefwaya fishi pinga chitika. Please, abana baonaika because of not respecting the values. Tulemulomba ko bakateka na bonsi abo n'abana ba members of parliament katuloleshe pama laws ngachingirira kw'abaana okutira atita kuleba ebifi ama defilements. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Tumaini, and thank you to Professor Luo. Thank you to Member of Central Committee Olivia Piri, and thank you to Namakao Silumesi, our representative for the youth. It is now my humbled honor and pleasure to read the communique, which will be circulated for everyone to read and to understand that the outcome of this press conference from the women in politics and CSOs is we, the undersigned opposition political parties and representatives of the women's movement are gathered today for this press briefing to collectively address the constitutional amendment process led by the UPND government. We consider this issue to be of national importance and want to add the voice of women to the many who have raised concerns on this topic. Number one, rejection of any constitutional amendments before the 2026 elections. We maintain a firm position against any modifications to the current constitution before the scheduled 2026 general election. It is essential to emphasize that the citizens of Zambia are the rightful owners of the constitution, and any amendments must follow a transparent, reputable, and inclusive process. There are apprehensions regarding the hasty nature of proposed amendments and their apparent political agenda, which could potentially influence the results of the 2026 general elections. It is imperative to learn from history about the perils associated with incremental and self-serving constitutional amendments. 2, historical context and lessons learned. Zambia has a history of constitutional reviews that offer valuable lessons to the UPND government to consider. From the Chona Commission in 1972 to the Mvunga Commission in 1991, the Mwanakatwe Commission in 1996, the Mungomba Commission from 2003 to 2007, and the Silungwe Technical Committee in 2011 under President Sata, which included the current chairperson of elections, which included the current chairperson of the Electoral Commission of Zambia, Ms. Mwangala Zalomis. There has been clear roadmaps for constitutional amendments. These processes were guided by legitimate frameworks, such as the National Constitution Conference, the National Dialogue Forum, irrespective of the outcomes. This ensured a considerable level of participation and consensus building. Key elements of these processes included legitimized frameworks for dialogue were established by acts of parliament. Clear terms of reference outlining the scope of work. Inclusive participation from all sectors of society. Transparent timelines and cost estimates for the exercise. In contrast, the UPND government's proposed amendments lack these critical elements. There is no clear roadmap, no inclusive dialogue, and no consensus building process. Instead, the process is shrouded in secrecy, contradictions, and political expedience. 3. Concerns with the UPND government's approach. The UPND government's approach to constitutional amendments raises several red flags. A. Lack of inclusivity and transparency. There is no structured dialogue to build legitimacy and consensus around the proposed amendments. The process is not citizen-driven, as it excludes key stakeholders, including women, youth, and civil society organizations, among others. Budgetary and economic constraints. The absence of funds for the constitutional amendments in the 2025 national budget has sparked speculation about the government's priorities and the motives behind these changes, apart from partisan, self-serving interest. Zambia is currently facing a severe economic challenge, including food insecurity, inflation, and the high cost of living. These issues should take precedence over rushed constitutional reforms. Rushed and politically motivated timeline. With only 18 months remaining before the 2026 general elections, the process appears rushed and designed to serve the interests of the ruling party rather than designed to serve the interests of the citizens of the country. The UPND government defense is centered around the argument that the PF government amended the constitution within 8 months and close to the election year. It is important to recognize that the amendment process under the PF government started with Honorable Justice Anel Silungwe Technical Committee in 2011 and concluded in 2016, lasting almost 4 years. Therefore, it is incorrect and unacceptable to consider the PF's timeline for the 2016 amendment process as a justification for amending the constitution within 12 months of the UPND government. Contradictions and inconsistencies. President Hakainde Hichilema announced that Zambians had agreed to amend the constitution, yet no such consensus exists. The State House communication specialist claimed that a draft constitution had been prepared, while the Minister of Justice stated that the process had not yet begun. The former Minister of Justice revealed that he personally initiated the process in 2021, further exposing the lack of transparency and coordination within the UPND government. These inconsistencies demonstrate that the UPND government's approach is self-serving and lacks the legitimacy required for such a critical national undertaking. 4. Women's movement rejects the proposed amendments. The women's movement in Zambia rejects the UPND government's proposed constitution amendments, particularly those purporting to address the political participation of women and youth. I'll give a slight background. On the 18th of March 2025, President Hichilema announced during a visit to Mpundu that Zambians had agreed to amend the constitution and that a draft had already been prepared. This announcement was met with grave concern, as it bypassed the inclusive and participatory processes required for such significant changes. The current constitution, particularly Article 259, already mandates the consideration of women, youth, and differently abled persons for political office and decision-making positions. The question we ask is, Why does President Hichilema seek to amend the constitution months before the general election, especially when his party previously opposed the Bill of Rights, which sought to safeguard the rights of women, children, and marginalized groups? Persecution of women and youth. Under the UPND government, women and youth have faced unprecedented persecutions. Examples include the harassment and beatings of women and youth during International Women's Day and Youth Day celebrations, the removal of Ministry of Gender further marginalizes women's voices in governance, the disproportionate representation of women in decision-making positions, with only 2 out of 8 nominated MPs and 4 out of 29 cabinet ministers being women. The unjust incarceration of political opponents, including former First Lady, Madam Esther Lungu, FDD President Edith Nawakwi, and youth activists on unsubstantiated charges. These actions demonstrate the UPND government's disregard for the rights and representation of women and youth. Conclusion and a call to action. The Constitution is the supreme law of the land and should never be amended to serve the political ambitions of any ruling party. Zambia deserves a constitution-making process that is inclusive, transparent, citizen-driven, and free from political manipulation. We urge the UPND government to 1. Suspend all proposed amendments until after the 2026 general elections. 2. Prioritize pressing economic and social challenges affecting the nation, rather than using constitutional reform as a political tool. We call upon all Zambians to remain vigilant and actively participate in safeguarding our democracy. Any constitutional amendments must reflect the collective will of the people and not the agenda of those in power. As opposition parties and women's movement, we remain committed to defending Zambia's democratic principles and ensuring that the Constitution remains a true representation of people's aspirations. This is issued on behalf of opposition political parties and women movements. I thank you. We have now come to the end of our presser. It has taken a long time, but we feel that it was very important for us to voice out. We may be saying the same things as other people who have said. This shows the importance we attach to this subject. And the more voices we hear, the more convincing it should be to our president to understand that the people are not for the constitution amendments at this point in time. So we need more voices to come out. Maybe if he hears more voices, he will be convinced. Otherwise, we should let a situation where he does what he wants and gets away with it. At this point, I would like to invite questions from the press. You may direct your questions to any of the 4 speakers there. If translate
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.